What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of what I'm doing right now. And this is a little bit different. It's the question and answer version, but it still has to do with the zero startup. So, those of you who have been following along, I know it's not a whole lot of you, but I appreciate those of you who are watching. Those of you who've been following along with the zero startup or how to start a business with no money series, this falls right in line with that. But I am responding to a question from Ms. Lina. So, come on back, check out what the question is, and let's get into this episode. Like I said, this is the question and answer session of what I'm doing right now. And this question is from Ms. Lina, and it's a pretty good one. So it may take me a second to get adjusted to reading and answering the question, but the question is showing up right there on the screen where I am. So you really can't see me that well, but you can see the question. So the first part of the question is she's asking about she's coming to the end of her graduate school experience, and she's about to finish up, and she's doing an internship. But her and a couple of her classmates have created a book, and this book is really taking off, and people are enjoying it inside of the internship. And now all these other different places want to take her book and implement it into her into their own businesses. So she's asking this question, and she's saying she's created this curriculum, and people are starting to see it, and she wants, and these institutions also want it, but she's trying to figure out what direction to go if there is some potential for profit, and she also wants to know if she can protect that work. Well, there's a couple of things that she can get into there, but she extends the question more, and she also asks, eventually she wants to open a business herself that deals with what she's already working on in school. She needs to know about branding and all this other stuff, but let's just stick with the first part first. So I'm going to dig into each part of this question and everything that you've seen come across your screen for the moment, and we're going to get into it. But first things first, what I want you guys to understand is the first part of this is a publishing question, and I think what happens is we have to kind of quantify what we know or how we know certain things. Now, the difference between me and a lot of other people who are doing videos and talking about these different things about how to start a business and do all of this stuff is I've actually already done a lot of different businesses. So when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you from experience. So I'm going to reach up here first and show you this paper. Okay, you can't see it. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but this is from R.R. Bowker. R.R. Bowker. I talked about this in the copyright section before. There are several different things that you can do if you've created a book, okay, a text. Specifically, if it's your thesis statement from your graduate program, it's already copywritten, because when you create a thesis, it looks like this. I'm going to disappear for a second, and I'm going to come back and keep talking, but I want you to stick with me. So I'm going back to my big bookshelf back here, and excuse all the junk over there, but this is a working and active office. I do a lot of different things out of this office. This is my thesis. See how thick that is? Okay, and that's from San Diego State. Well, once I finished this thesis, it went into the San Diego State Library. So it's basically copywritten, that's protected. But I extended it a bit further because I was able to obtain an agent, which is a part of the process of becoming a published author, right? You get the agent submits your books to different places, and then you end up having a book in a bookstore. But that's the abbreviated version. So I'm going to have to do several things in this video. And the first part of it is I'm going to talk to you guys about the ideas of, not the idea, but the process of publishing. So the first thing you see up here at the top is forms of publishing, right? And there are 3 forms of publishing. So let me grab my marker here, and I'm going to write this down for you, okay? The first is what I'll label as traditional, okay? The second is vanity, and the third I'll call self, okay? A traditional method of publishing means that you've written a book, you went out and bought the writer's market, you submitted your work to agents, an agent has decided to take you on as a client. And because they took you on as a client, they can now submit your book to publishing houses. The process for your book to get accepted by an agent, it varies. Depends on how good your query letter is and how good your book is. Okay. People who have a following already, it's easier for them to become published. So you'll have a guy like Steve Harvey who had 30 divorces, and he's a relationship expert. So he gets a book out there about relationships, while you may be some happily married person and you may know how to maintain a relationship. So I would be more willing to trust you than to trust Steve Harvey. But that's neither here or there. That's just me making a comment about the type of people that typically get book deals. So the traditional method of publishing, it takes time. You got to write a query. You have to send it off to the agent. The agent has to take you on as a client, and then they can submit the book to a publishing house, and the publishing house puts your book out. Okay. The second form I'm labeling as vanity publishing. Vanity publishing means that you don't know how to publish a book. You don't know how to go through the process of getting your book into print form and getting it out so that you can sell it yourself or sell it on some platform. All right. So you submit it to one of these websites where they say, we will publish your book for this much money. Typically, those vanity publishing companies charge you a lot of money, and it's expensive. But you can say you're in print, but it's extremely expensive. And I don't necessarily recommend the idea of vanity unless you know absolutely nothing at all about how to turn your manuscript into, or if you don't know how to use a computer, then I say, yeah, go ahead and do vanity, but I honestly don't recommend it. The third is self-publishing, and it used to be that self-publishing was looked down on. People thought that people who couldn't get an agent and they couldn't get published traditionally, those are the people that self-published. Now, though, because the market is changing so much, and if you don't have a big audience already, it's hard to get this traditional publishing. So you have some people who really have good books, and they've decided to self-publish. Now, when I showed you this paperwork from R.R. Bowker, I actually started my own publishing company. It's a little bit different than self-publishing. I own my ISBNs. In many instances with self-publishing, you have several options for publishing under self-publishing. And those options exist with a few companies. And the top three, to me, the top three, the first one is Lightning Source. Okay, Lightning Source will, you can submit your book into Lightning Source, and you can own your own ISBNs, and they can extend your book and get your book into the Gram, into Ingram. Sorry about that. Ingram is the kind of like the governing body for books, and they allow all of the different small independent bookstores or bigger bookstores, Barnes and Nobles, to find your book and to buy your book. But Lightning Source works directly with Ingram, and they'll put that book in there, but they charge a fee, an annual fee, but they're very good at what they do. So your book can be everywhere. The second option would be CreateSpace. Now, there's a lot of animosity between the book world and Amazon.com. CreateSpace is owned by Amazon.com, okay? And this is the thing. With CreateSpace, you can make your book. You don't even need to own an ISBN. Like I said, if you can sign up with R.R. Bowker, you can own your ISBNs. You don't even need to do that with CreateSpace. They give you everything you need, and then your book is published directly into Amazon.com, and it's made available on one of the biggest platforms in the world. They also will send that book over into their Kindle press. All right, so you'll have an ebook version available on Amazon, and you'll have a paperback version or a hardback if you choose to do that. The third option is, now there are more options, is Lulu.com. Lulu.com is interesting because when Ms. Lina wrote and stated the question, she talked about the fact that it's already been bound, and she went to Staples to have the book bound. Now, she could have done something really interesting with that book. She could have taken that curriculum she created, uploaded the file to Lulu.com. They don't charge you for an account. You can open the account for free. And she could have uploaded it, created a book cover, using their templates that they have on lulu.com. And then she could have paid basically probably less than she paid at Staples to create a curriculum, especially if it was a pretty big curriculum. So when you think about me and this thesis, had I gone to a Staples, that's a lot of paper. All right. So it would have been pretty big and expensive for me to do, Staples. But I could have done this with Lulu pretty quickly. Okay. So when Ms. Lina asked the question, what are her options as far as the book and the potential? What we have here are business options, okay? And she's talking about branding and all of these different things, but her business opportunities are very interesting because she has a book that obviously is good. It's been edited because it's a thesis. It's been accepted into her internship, so people respect the work that's inside of it. She has a few things that she can do. Obviously, she could stick with her current internship. If they offer her a position, she can continue to work with the internship. Okay. She can continue to work. Or she can sit down and look at this as an option as well. Because other companies are interested in the curriculum, she doesn't have to be 100% dedicated here. She can make sure she has in her agreement with the company that she's working with that she can carry her work and she can consult. Now, how do these things equal up or factor into the zero startup? She has the ability to create a consulting company where she doesn't have to work for this company. She doesn't have to work for any company. She can bring her curriculum in and she can charge this company for the curriculum, the new company that she's going to, and she can use Lulu to print her books for that company. If that book is that good, which it seems like it is according to what she's saying and the people are interested in it, she can also make it available on lulu.com. Okay. And by making it available on lulu.com, she's created a business that's a zero startup. She doesn't have to pay any money. She could literally have people go to lulu.com, or she could create it with CreateSpace and they could go to CreateSpace and purchase the book, and she can earn revenue from this book being purchased by these companies. Now, she said down the line, she probably wants to do branding and create another company and do a website. What I would do is take this one step at a time. I would look at the website stuff later, okay? Creating a website is not that difficult at all, all right? And what's happened, though, is a lot of people have been tricked by people who run websites and they've been overcharged and all of this other stuff. But creating a website is not that difficult. Once you come up with a name that you are comfortable with, then you are in the process of branding yourself and branding that website. But what she can do up front, literally, is create copies of that book. She doesn't have to make them herself. She can take, it'll probably cost about $15 to upload the files to either Lulu or CreateSpace, or she can set up an account with Lightning Source, and then she can order a sample copy for herself so she can have it and she can go through and edit it in book form. All right. So this is one of those question and answer segments where, as far as it being a zero startup, there is the opportunity for a zero startup there. What Ms. Lina has to understand is that there are several forms of publishing. Okay, and I'm about to get to the end of this. You can do it traditionally where you submit it and it's published by a publishing house, but that takes up to 6 months to a year to maybe 2 years for your book to come out. You can do vanity publishing, which is very expensive, where you send it off to some small printing house or printing press and they print the book for you and then they charge you to pick up your copies. Okay. Or you can do self-publishing where you purchase your ISBNs through R.R. Bowker, or you can just basically sign up for either Lightning Source, CreateSpace, or Lulu.com. In Ms. Lina's case, she can take those books and she can present them to her internship or to what other companies that are interested in what she's doing as a consultation, and she can sell those books to that company. Now, she doesn't have to bring the books with her and have them cut her a check right then and there. She can set it up as a package. If she has a website or she wants to do a website, she can do it then. or she can have them go directly to Amazon.com or Lulu.com and purchase the book. But there are a lot of different options out there for her. We can go into more detail, but this episode is running a little long. Even though I think it's good enough that I hope I held your attention this long. I appreciate Ms. Lina for the question. I hope more of you guys send in questions because I like using the board and breaking things down. And the more we get into this type of thing, the less mistakes you're going to make in relation to the mistakes that I've made throughout my small business career. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and checking it out. Go down there and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Appreciate it again. Thank you. See you next episode.